Hello guys, welcome back to Pause and welcome back to Hysteria Pier and Promenade build. This is part 5 and this is the build series. So today we are working on the pier itself, so it's a complete pier episode. Who'd have thought it, eh? So before we get into the episode, if this is the kind of content you like, theme park simulation, planet coaster, building kind of games, consider subscribing to the channel to stay up to date with all of our content. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give us a big like down below. So let's talk about what we are doing today. So in the last couple of episodes we've got the promenade pretty much there. There's still a few little bits and pieces and a few areas that need a little bit of work. So thank you ever so much to everybody who's put in their suggestions so far. Some of them are amazing. I am taking them on board. So more on that when we finish the promenade, probably in the next episode. So massive thank you to everybody who's getting involved, really appreciate it. And anyone else who is watching this and thinks, that's not very good, I think this could be improved, please let me know. I've never built anything like this before in Planet Coaster, so I really would like your guys' feedback. So on to today's episode. We are entirely pier based. This first little section I'm just trying to figure out some pathways and just trying to find a way to do it. I think eventually what I'm going to do after the build is complete, I'm going to lift up the base wooden platform just very slightly so it covers up the curves on the paths, because I don't like the fact you can see them. So that's something I'll probably do at the end. Maybe, it depends how much clipping there are with guest feet. So what I'm doing in the meantime is just using the curved edges just to stop guests wandering where I don't want them to, basically, because the paths are... It's not the best pathing system in this game, but at least we've got them curves now so I can stop guests going through the random fences. So that's what we are doing today, is doing a lot of pier-based stuff. So like I said, we're starting off here, just sorting out the fence, extending that over and putting in this little brief outdoor area. I finished the building on this little section at the front as well, to get that all capped off. And we had a little bit of detail into this as well to make it just look a little bit nicer. And then we get started on the arcade, which is what I teased in the last episode. So the general idea is going to be you enter the pier underneath this kind of covered area just here. It then opens out to an outdoor area where there's going to be something. I mean, you'll see a bit later on in this episode, I do toy with the idea of putting sort of vending machines and some arcade machines there. It just looks really messy. The way these new machines work with the path, it's very messy. So at the moment I've left that kind of blank. I might just go for some planters and some benches, keep it sort of classic, and I don't know. Again, any ideas when we get to the end, you'll know what I mean, let me know. So just adding a little bit of detail. Some of these new little decorative pieces that have been added with vintage are absolutely amazing. I go mental with them today, as you'll see when we get onto the arcade building. But by the end of today's episode, the arcade isn't finished, but it's sort of a good 70% there. So the main building itself is pretty much done. The main entrance on the front, as you're looking basically from this angle here, is pretty much done as well. And then I've also done a little bit of an interior, which still needs a bit of work, but you'll see as we get along. So first of all, I was toying with the idea of using this new tin wall. I don't like it. It doesn't suit this style. I might use that at some point on this pier, as I'm planning to do a kind of fun house facade. So I think it'll work quite well with that. But in terms of the main building, it didn't really work. So what I went with in the end, just to make it a little bit different from the main building at the front of the pier, I've actually used the spooky walls here. These are the ones that came with the spooky pack. And they kind of have that very aged look about them, and it kind of fits the bill that I need it to be kind of like a wood, and that classic material. So that's what we go for with this building. Like I say, this is going to be the arcade. That's at the sort of entrance to the pier as you walk up onto it. There is going to be a pathway either side to bypass if you don't want to go through the arcade. And inside is going to be a mix between real arcade machines, as in the claw machines in the game, and the Zoltar and that kind of stuff. And also some community creations that have been made that I found on the workshop. So there's a fair bit today of stuff that I'm using from the workshop. Most of the inside the arcades you'll see is that, and the other thing as well, which I get onto in a couple of seconds, is the actual arcade sign. So the new pieces in the game, the lettering that I've used on the front, so the Hysteria Pier that's at the front of the pier itself, uses the in-game lettering, which is amazing, but it's very big. So this set here has been created on Steam, which is incredible. I can't actually remember off the top of my head now who. Okay, so I've just had a quick look. I think it's pronounced Uikins, I think. Sorry if I'm getting that wrong. But like I said, I found it on the workshop and it is absolutely amazing. So it's a really, really good font set. So I do recommend checking it out. And there's also a lit and unlit version that is available on Steam. So yeah, massive thank you for creating this. It's amazing and it fits the size perfectly. The other lettering, the in-game ones, are just too big to fit here. So I just add a slight little sort of, not rotation, whatever the sort of that angled shape to the lettering just above there. In a little while we do go back and put some supports underneath, again just for some added realism, and it kind of pops out of that little sort of fake roof piece there. So here we put in a few details in. Like I say, I go a little bit mental, a little bit to town with some of these details from Vintage, but I really like them, especially these little flag pieces. I use these quite a lot in this episode, but I do really think they suit this theme really well, and not just this theme, a lot of themes they would look really good. So yeah, a bit more detail on the building. We do add a little bit of lighting. I also do some lighting inside as well to make it look a little bit garish. Generally the idea I was going for, and you'll see there's a bit of a stark contrast with this build. I want the outside to be very sort of classic. I want the outside to basically look like it probably did when it was built. So very classic, very sort of an era, and just fits the theme of the pier. The inside, purposely, I want it to look a little bit crap, a little bit naff, and just a little bit sort of modern. And that's why you'll see I've used a lot of sort of bold colours and shapes on the inside as decorations. And that is a conscious decision. Like I say, I want to make it look quite rubbish inside, because most arcades are. You go to a British arcade, it's pretty ropey. I mean, it's like dirty carpets. It's not nice. I mean, the machines are probably mostly broken, and it's just all very old and dated, and the money doesn't go into the building, it goes into the machines. So that's why you're seeing this. The inside, it isn't very good. So, like I say, I will do some improvements, but it is meant to look like that. So if you're wondering why it looks really weird on the inside, that's why. So I add a few little bits on the to these sides. I want it to be quite open, so as you're walking past you can still sort of see in, and I want it to still feel quite part of the pier rather than it just being just on its own, a little building in the middle. I want it to feel part of the pier, so that's why I put these well, it's not archways, but these entrances towards the side. So here are a couple of the pieces that I found on the workshop today. There is so many, and again there's too many different creators that I've used bits from here that I am sorry, but I can't actually remember to list them all in this video, and I know that's so bad, and all these people have spent so long working on these. I'm so sorry that I can't remember who's made them, but thank you to everybody who has made these amazing creations and put them up on the workshop. They are brilliant. I could not make anything like this, so thank you so much. So we add in a good variety of different machines. Ski ball, you've got the dance revolution type thing, a couple of these sort of air hockey tables, general arcade machines. I do try and fit in a few of the in-game ones. I had a bit of trouble at first, but we go back in a bit and add some pathway, and they kind of fit, but it does make it a bit awkward with the entranceways, so you'll see what I mean in a few minutes. So here I was, just like I said at the start, I was toying with the idea of just having this as like a kind of a midway stretch. So as you're walking up between the archway and the arcade, there's a little stretch of random midways, machines, and I wanted a shop on here as well. It just looks messy. As like you see, the way the path works, it's so precise with the pathing. I don't know if it's because I've got it on a bridge. I don't know, but I was really struggling to get all these things lined up. Like that one did, back to back, but a few of the others just wouldn't go. So in the end, I rip it all out and leave it as an empty space because it just looks messy and I don't like it. Like I said, I did try and put a shop in, but that was obstructed as well. So I was having a mare. Any ideas what I can fill these two little spaces with? Let me know. Like I said, I'm probably just going to end up going with benches and planters. Just something classic as you walk in. But yeah, I couldn't think of anything else. Like I said, these don't fit very well. The shops don't fit in there, so I can't put like a row of shops in, which was another plan I had because they don't fit. So yeah, I take it all away and we get back to the arcade. So in the process of messing around with this path, a few bits got deleted as well. So I do a bit of jigging around and putting some fences back in and redoing the path and all that kind of good stuff. So yeah, there's a few little bits and pieces that sort of just, I don't know, I must have pressed delete a few too many times or back a few too many times, and you know what happens. So here I'm just trying to figure out what I want on the roof of the arcade. That's another bit that I am going to go back to at the end of the video, and I'm still not 100% happy with it. So you'll see at the very end, and when we do the experience video, when we look a little bit more detail into what we've done today, you'll see what we've actually done with the roof. I think what I might do is put a bit more height on it, because at the moment I sort of flatten it out on the second level and then put some like tower pieces on top. You'll see in a minute, but I think I might make it a little bit higher and put one tower above everything else. I think it'll look a little bit better. You'll see what I mean at the end. And that was just there inside, a little example of what I was doing inside the arcade with some of those new art shape pieces, just to add them to the walls and just make it look pretty naff inside. And as I've said, I am taking inspiration from actual British seaside arcades. So that's what they are. They're pretty crap inside, so that's what I'm doing. Here I was doing a little bit more path work and just use this piece to cover up the gap between the paths and the actual entrance to the pier itself. It looks a bit like a curb, just to cover it up, and it just makes it look a little bit like a step. But it's fine, it works, it's quite nice. Like I said, this is the bit I was fiddling around with these, putting some machines in. Because they go slightly over where the doorway is, there are a couple of places where I can't actually bring the path into the building at the side entrances. So I might go back and readjust them to see if I can get those entrances working. But like I said, eventually you're not going to see the pathways anyway, so I don't think you'll notice too much that guests aren't using the doorways. They'll just be in there and they'll make their own way around. So in the end it should work out quite well. Here I was just having a little play with this to see exactly how it works. They work so strange, they really do, on the pathway. It's very weird how they've implemented it. It must just be a coding thing, but they work to some extent, so that's all good. So a little bit of path work, put it around the building, and then we basically just get ready for the rest of the pier, which is where we're going to move on to in a future episode. So here I'm just capping off the roof. A very simple roof. It just sort of, as you can see, flows around the edge, and this is the part that I was just talking about a minute ago, that I could sort of just flatten out this top bit and add some towers. So I might put another tower in that middle section, just to give it a little bit of height variation. So that's maybe something I'll do between the next episodes to make it just look a little bit better. And like I said, I do change that that tower piece above the arcade sign as well, to one of the others. Well, I think I put 3 in there in total. Again, this is something that I'm just testing out to see how it looks, and we might come back and change this up as well. But any suggestions, as I've mentioned, please let me know. So that's pretty much it for today's episode, guys. Thank you ever so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this, as always, please make sure you give us a like down below. And if you haven't subscribed already, please subscribe to the channel. It really does help us out. And I would love you to join our little community that we've got going on here, and get involved down in the comments, have discussions with each other, give me your suggestions, your comments, your views on the channel and the videos. Let me know how I can improve. And thank you guys ever so much for watching. Watch the experience video out after this one, and I'll see you next time. Cheers guys, bye.